Florida is the retirement capital of the United States. Now, there are many reasons that retirees look to Florida for their retirement, one of which is access to health care. Now, if you are currently living in Florida or thinking about moving to Florida for your retirement, your health insurance options may be slightly different than in the rest of the country. Now, we've got plenty of videos about Medicare and Medicare Advantage, and although today's video is going to focus on Medicare Advantage in Florida, we are licensed nationwide, so if you have any questions whatsoever about your health insurance or Medicare coverage, you can reach us at the number on the screen or in the comments below. And yes, we do release these videos on a weekly basis, so make sure to subscribe to stay up to date, and please click that like button so we can get this information out there. Now, when you enroll in Medicare, you will have many options. The first of which is just to keep your original Medicare coverage. Now, with original Medicare alone, you may have larger copays or deductibles dependent upon the services that you use, and of course there is no out-of-pocket maximum. You also won't have additional benefits like dental, vision, hearing, or prescription drug. Now, those additional costs are why many people look to supplement their original Medicare coverage with a Medigap plan. And these traditionally are far more popular than Medicare Advantage in most areas of the country. Now, Medigap plans won't offer you additional benefits not already offered by original Medicare, but they will fill in those financial gaps, the copays and deductibles. If you're looking for prescription drug coverage, then Part D plans are readily available. And of course, if you do need additional coverage for dental, vision, and hearing, then those plans are actually much less expensive than you may think. Or you could go the Medicare Advantage route. Now, Medicare Advantage is actually a replacement for original Medicare, so you can't have original Medicare and a Medicare Advantage plan at the same time. Usually, Medicare Advantage plans are much less expensive than original Medicare plus a Medicare supplement plan, and very often they offer additional benefits, things like dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage. So at face value, they seem like a great option. So why is it that Medicare supplement plans are still far more popular? Well, first, they're a little bit more difficult to navigate than original Medicare. If you have an HMO plan, you'll need a PCP and a referral for specialists, and you will likely need pre-authorization for a series of different services. Also, you will have to operate within network. Even if you do go for a PPO, remember that in-network services will be less expensive than out-of-network services. Now, as I said, these plans sound great at face value, which is why many people enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan. However, after the fact, many people report dissatisfaction with their Medicare Advantage plan because often they find it difficult to find a doctor or hospital or specialist within a reasonable distance who accepts their Medicare Advantage plan. Now, this is very often the case, except in Florida. So perhaps because of the buyer's remorse, there are many ways to get out of your Medicare Advantage plan if you find yourself dissatisfied with the benefits and coverage offered. We've got another video about that, which I will link in the description below. Now, Medicare Advantage plans in Florida just seem to be built a little bit differently. That's not to say that if you live in Florida, a Medicare Advantage plan is definitely the way to go. You should just know that if you are in Florida, you may have different or better options than perhaps in other areas of the country. And that's not to say that if you live somewhere other than Florida, that Medicare Advantage isn't the way you should go. You should just be aware of all the pros and cons regardless of the plan that you choose. So many people find that Medicare Advantage plans in Florida tend to offer lower copays, lower deductibles, lower out-of-pocket maximums when compared to other parts of the country. Very often people are finding it easier to find a doctor or specialist or hospital in Florida also who accepts their plan within a reasonable traveling distance. And then on top of that, many Florida Medicare Advantage plans offer additional benefits to try to entice new beneficiaries. So we are going to look at some Medicare Advantage plans in the zip code 32162 in Sumter County, Florida, because that's actually the zip code for the Villages, which is the huge retirement community in Florida. So we're looking at just Medicare Advantage, which is also known as Part C. And then this next page, it'll ask you if you get help with your costs from any of these programs. So we're going to put, I don't get any help, just so we can see the full priced plans. Do you want to see your drug costs when you compare plans? So as I mentioned earlier in the video, many Medicare Advantage plans do offer prescription drug coverage. So if you'd like to compare the actual costs, meaning your copays, when you compare the plans, then you would want to have the names of any prescriptions that you take as well as the dosages available so you can compare those copays. So let's put yes. We will put Lipitor, which is a common cholesterol medication. And I'm actually going to leave this as the brand just so we can compare. So we're going to keep brand. And let's add another drug. All right. So we'll say done adding drugs. And then it's going to show us some pharmacies in the area. So make sure to compare a mail order pharmacy because very often you'll notice that the mail order pharmacy copays are different than the brick and mortar pharmacy copays. And then here are some of the pharmacies in the direct vicinity. So let's do this one because this one is directly in the villages. We'll also add a CVS, a Walmart, and let's do a Publix since we're focusing on Florida. All right, so here we have all of the plans available. It's showing us 10 of the 50 Medicare Advantage plans available in this area. So the first plan that it's showing us, and it is filtering by lowest drug plus premium cost, so it's taking into consideration your actual copays for the prescriptions that we entered as well. So the first plan that it offers us is a Cigna Preferred Medicare. That's an HMO. So yes, you may have to deal with pre-authorization. You may need a PCP, or rather you will need a PCP and referrals for specialists. And it's going to break down some of the costs associated. So you do not have an additional monthly premium other than that $164.90 standard Part B premium. So if you were to opt for one of these types of plans, remember they are not free though, you still have to pay for Part B. If you were to opt for one of these types of plans, you wouldn't have any additional costs. So that's why many people find these Medicare Advantage plans so very appealing, because you are getting additional benefits. For example, right here, remember original Medicare doesn't have an out-of-pocket maximum. So this plan has a $2,700 out-of-pocket maximum. So once you hit $2,700 for covered in-network services, your plan would take on the remainder of the bills for the year. And then here are the benefits offered. So this plan has vision, dental, hearing, like we talked about earlier. It also offers some transportation benefits, some fitness benefits, worldwide emergency, and telehealth. It also offers over-the-counter drugs. So very often plans will offer you, or at least Medicare Advantage plans in Florida, will offer you discounts at specific pharmacies, or they'll offer you up to a certain amount basically free of certain over-the-counter medications like ibuprofen or possibly knee braces, some basic things that pharmacies might sell that aren't prescription drugs. And then here are your copays. So a $0 copay for a primary care doctor, a $0 copay for a specialist. And then if you want to see what the drugs that we put in, what those costs would be, so here's where you could compare that. So it looks like for the pharmacies that we selected, they're all in-network. Now, 3 of them are preferred in-network, which means that your prescriptions are going to be less expensive there. Now, if you scroll down, you can see what I'm talking about. Here are the 2 medications that we put in. Now, I left Lipitor as a brand name so that way you could see just how much more expensive brand names are when compared to generics. So if you look here, CVS, which is an in-network pharmacy but not a preferred in-network pharmacy, you would have a copay of $37.45. But if you were to use one of the preferred pharmacies, you have no copay. Now, your Lipitor, which is your generic, much more expensive. And I'm going to show you what that would be if we did the generic version, just so that you can get an idea of how much more expensive brand name is versus generic. So I actually already pulled this up in another tab just so you can see. So this is the generic version of Lipitor. And look at that. It is $50 for that in-network non-preferred versus $1,038. And if you were to use that in-network preferred pharmacy, there's no copay. So please always go for generic if it's an option for you. You can save so much money. Anyway, looking back at our initial page, so these are the estimated costs associated with the prescription drugs that we put in. Now, if you were to scroll down, you would see some of the other plans available. Now, this one has a slightly higher out-of-pocket maximum. Let's see what else. It looks like it has many of the similar benefits, a $0 copay for a primary care physician, $15 copay for a specialist. Something that's very, very important when we're talking about Medicare Advantage is that you have to look at the carrier and the particular plan, not just the benefits, because you need to ensure that your doctor, specialist, or the hospital that you intend on using accepts your plan. That's not the same as with a Medicare supplement plan. If they accept original Medicare, they accept your Medicare supplement plan. So this plan is Aetna, and we can see some of the benefits offered. So this one also offers emergency response devices. Now, if you did want to have a little bit more flexibility, then you can look here and you can select a PPO. So we're going to filter out the HMOs to see just the PPOs. Okay, so for example, here's an Aetna PPO plan. That means you can go in and out of network. It's always going to be more expensive to go out of network, but it does give you some flexibility. And remember, you won't need a primary care physician or referral to see specialists. You still have a $0 copay for your PCP and a $35 copay for your specialist. It has a higher out-of-pocket maximum. There's a separate drug deductible, but again, it's giving you much, much more flexibility. So you can see here, if you've looked at Medicare Advantage plans in other states, that these benefits are far more robust. And again, what you probably don't know, just from looking at the screen, is that it is much easier to find doctors and hospitals and specialists who accept these plans within a reasonable geographical distance versus other states. Many people do report that they have difficulty finding doctors that accept their plans. Now, even if you were to click Plan Details, it will give you more information as far as the benefits and costs. So you can see here what the costs of diagnostic tests and procedures would be, lab services, radiology services, outpatient, emergency, urgent care, etc. So it's going to give you a breakdown of what your costs would be. Remember that you can enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan either when you first become eligible, during a special enrollment period, or every year during the AEP, which is October 15th to December 7th. And then, of course, there's that Medicare Advantage open enrollment period from January 1st to March 31st, during which you can switch plans or drop a plan if you'd like to switch back to original Medicare. As always, if you have questions about your Medicare coverage, you can reach us in the comments below or at the number on the screen. Remember, we are licensed nationwide, not just in Florida, and there is absolutely no charge for our services. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and we are more than happy to help. But before you go, make sure to subscribe to stay up to date. There are constant changes in Medicare and you definitely want to stay on top of it. And of course, please like this video so we can get this information out there. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.